Welcome to another episode of Healing Through Love. Each week, we share ideas, experiences, and resources to increase the awareness of domestic and family violence and to empower survivors to grow and thrive. We talk with experts who share their advice, or with people who have experienced abuse, no matter where they are on their journey. This is all about healing through love. And now, here are your hosts, Sharlene Lynch and Rose Davidson.
The Healing Through Love podcast with Sharlene Lynch and Rose Davidson. Simran Parekh discusses the importance of a support system for someone going through mental health issues on episode 81.
There are a lot of people, as you mentioned, that you were aware that you had a concern, but you weren't acknowledging it. You just mentioned that I used to drink a lot. But there are people who are aware of their concern and who want to work. So they willingly come into therapy that, okay, fine, I know this is the problem. I know this is the concern and I want to improve. But there are many people who come in just because, as I mentioned earlier, an uneasiness, a feeling of void or emptiness, a feeling of not being the same as they were earlier. So they are still figuring out what's wrong. So there are people who come at an early stage where they don't understand what's going on. There's a confusion. They feel different from what they were earlier. So because you do feel something different if your body changes physically also. If you have a stomachache or a headache, you know there's something going inside the body and we need to maybe take medications or visit the doctor.
The Healing Through Love podcast with Sharlene Lynch and Rose Davidson.
Hello and welcome to the Healing Through Love podcast. I'm your host, Sharlene Lynch from sharlenelynch.com. Healing Through Love is here to help victims and survivors of domestic and family violence find their way back to living a more fulfilling and meaningful life. We interview experts and survivors who share their story, their personal stories, and offer advice to those who've experienced abuse, no matter where they are on their journey. As well as the Healing Through Love podcast, we hold annual Pamper Days here in Adelaide, South Australia, for survivors of domestic and family violence. Local businesses come together to pay it forward by providing their services and resources for a day to give our survivors a much-needed day of indulgence. Think day spa on steroids. We're looking for organisations with similar values, so get in touch with us here at Healing Through Love. We're now global. We have been since May this year, and we have 8 different locations around the world that are hosting Pamper Days in the next year. Every week we have amazing guests, and this week is no difference. We have Simran here with us. She's a dedicated and compassionate mental health therapist with more than 4 years' experience in the field. With a genuine passion for helping individuals overcome emotional and psychological challenges, she's committed to providing high-quality care and support for their clients. And she's all the way from India. Hello and welcome.
Hi, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. It's different times of the day and the night for you. At the moment, it's 9 o'clock at night for me. What time is it for you?
It's evening. It's 4 p.m. for me.
Oh, there you go. I love it. So welcome to Healing Through Love. It's so great to have you here. And congratulations on choosing psychology as a therapy. I love it. What first drew you to psychology?
It was the basic nature of people and how they behave is, something that intrigued me into this and to understand, what makes a person who they are or what makes them react or act in a certain way. So the just curiosity of knowing what people do when they are in a particular situation or how can I help them better to maintain a balance in their lifestyle. So that is one thing that, out of curiosity came up.
Yes, I love it. So here in South Australia, so we noticed that for many people, especially on lower incomes, it's up to a 7-week wait for them to be able to get government-assisted therapy. Do you have similar challenges there, like not enough therapists for the number of people that need assistance?
Actually, it's the other way around. People are not more open about mental health concerns as much as they are in different countries. But yeah, I would definitely say that we are growing and we are progressing. We have therapists and we have people who face mental health concerns who are now on the verge of, opening up about their concerns and talking about their concerns. So right now, I think there's a balance between the both, but definitely, I would say it's the other way around than that's there in Australia.
Yeah, so we'll even talk about it on TikTok, on Facebook. We'll talk to you about it at the supermarket while we're waiting in line. We openly, like a badge, wear our mental health issues and equally run around and tell people about it. It's fascinating. So it must be a cultural thing. And look, COVID really made a big difference because we were more open, even more open, talking about our challenges. And I don't know if it's a good thing, a bad thing, or something indifferent somewhere in between, but it definitely has made an impact. So, wow. Okay. So that's interesting to see. So most of your clients, are they local or are they abroad? Like, do you have your services online or in person?
It's actually both. It's online as well as in person. In person, of course, only from the city that I belong to, which is in India. And online, I do see clients from various countries and internationally as well. So my services are available both for Indian clients as well as clients outside of India.
Yeah, I love that. So in Australia, we are supported by like a mental health support. So you get free visits, and so that's the ones that have got the longest waits for people to get assistance because they get basically a card. No, it's not actually a card, but they get basically either 5 or 10 visits, and they get them ticked off. And sometimes it's up to a 7-week wait for them to actually get in to see someone just to start that process. Wow. So today, most of our listeners are somewhere on the healing journey from family and domestic violence. And mental health is one of the concerns that we need to address because, where we need additional help just to get ourselves moving. And whether we're staying in the process, staying in that proximity, or whether we're moving out of it, we need additional help. So what could you help us with today with talking to our listeners about how they can do better self-care?
Definitely. First, I would say it's really important to be aware of your concerns. A lot of us are not aware what we are going through. We know that, there's a feeling, there's a certain uneasiness, a certain restlessness, maybe you have that feeling, that the situation is not right. Maybe I'm not feeling good, but we can't pinpoint that this is the cause of it, or this is something that's, making me feel bad, or I'm not liking this. So there are a lot of times where we don't understand what's going on. We are confused. So I come in, I help you with gaining clarity there by discussing, a lot of history that you've been through and understanding your concerns, as well as also being aware is the first step towards progress. Because until unless you're aware of your concern, you won't know that there's a concern, correct? Like if you don't know there's something wrong in you, how will you proceed towards progress? So I would say awareness is the first step towards it. After being aware, you need to acknowledge that yes, this is there and I have to deal with it. I have to focus on it, and rather than focusing on, this is a problem or this is a situation, we should always focus on solutions. What can I do to improve my situation? What can I do to cope up from the situation? Because if we keep on thinking about, okay, this problem has come in, this situation has come in, we are focusing on the problem and not how to come out of it. So that will make us more stressful and anxious and affect us negatively. But if we think about how can I overcome, it makes us more confident, determined, and motivated towards a hopeful future, a hopeful outcome. Definitely, futures are uncertain, outcomes are uncertain, but we can definitely be confident in ourselves that we can deal with it. Whatever comes our way, it's our responsibility that we can deal with it. So
Okay.
the second step is acknowledging it and then moving towards the plan and process of working on it.
Right. So we've got acknowledge it, first of all. Or first of all, we've got awareness. You need to have awareness. Once you've got awareness, then you need to have acknowledge it. So I'm a recovered alcoholic. So, I was aware that there was a problem for 30 years, but I didn't acknowledge it. I didn't sort of say out loud, I'm an alcoholic. I just said I drank too much. So that's the next step. And then we need to have a plan and a program to move forward. So at what point in time do people come in this process of awareness, acknowledgement, and then plan? What point in time do they come and get professional help?
See, there are a lot of people, as you mentioned, that you were aware that you had a concern, but you weren't acknowledging it. You just mentioned that I used to drink a lot. But there are people who are aware of their concern and who want to work. So they willingly come into therapy that, okay, fine, I know this is the problem, I know this is the concern, and I want to improve. But there are many people who come in just because, as I mentioned earlier, an uneasiness, a feeling of void or emptiness, a feeling of uh, not being the same as they were earlier. So they are still figuring out what's wrong. So there are people who come at an early stage where they don't understand what's going on. There's a confusion. They feel different from what they were earlier. So because see, you do feel something different if your body changes physically also. If you have a stomachache or a headache, you know there's something going inside the body and we need to maybe take medications or visit the doctor. Similarly, if you're not mentally stable or emotionally stable, you will feel that. You will understand that. Even though if you can't pinpoint to one particular thing, maybe you will understand that uneasiness. So there are people who come in to gain awareness, and there are people who come in to, uh, look for solutions, look for an understanding that how they can cope up because they have that awareness, they have that acknowledgement. There are both ways. People can come at an early stage, they can come at after gaining that awareness as well.
Mm, right. Okay. So in this process, once we've sort of sought help, we obviously need to be doing things ourselves to help moving the things forward. And I know one of the things that was really powerful for me to move forward was definitely meditation. So is this something like, is it an Indian cultural thing to do meditation, or is it a spiritual thing, or is it just not a thing at all in India?
No, it definitely is a thing in India as well. But I usually do not ask my clients to meditate because, the art of meditation requires a lot of patience and practice. You cannot do it in a day or in a week. And people come in with that, we want fast solutions, we want fast results. So meditation is not something that they are up for usually. And of course, it takes a lot of time to, gain that focus and concentration that you can meditate, that patience on not focusing on anything, being blank. So rather than meditation, I give alternatives like deep breathing, venting out to yourself, because that brings more awareness, more clarity that what we want from ourselves, what are our expectations from ourselves. So maybe journaling. So these are alternatives that I suggest.
Yes, I'm a lover of journaling. Look, I've still got my morning journal still sitting here. So I'm an absolute advocate for it. I know that it's helped me give that space between thought and action. And sometimes, as I come with an interesting bag of mental health concerns and issues I definitely enable differently, is that being able to just journal it and write them out, that I can see them from a different lens because they don't seem to be catastrophized. They don't seem to be big that they can eat me alive. But when I can read them and I can sort of look at them from a third person, then I'm a much more relaxed about it, and I can put them in probably perspective is probably the word that I'm looking for, put them in perspective. I love it. So you've been now working as a therapist now for 4 years, and you see people in person and online. Are you doing group therapy as well, or is it all one-on-one?
No, it's basically individual one-on-one therapy as well as couples therapy for relationship or marriage concerns, but I do not do group therapy.
Ah, yes. Okay. So I love that. That's fantastic. That's very interesting. And so now moving from here, what are your plans to help more people? Are you going to be speaking now that you're doing podcasts? Are you writing a book? What are you planning to do moving forward?
Right now, my focus is more on reaching out on platforms like yours and, doing more podcasts because this is something that's right now, I would say, trending in today's terms. Because people are more open to hear other people right now. They understand that hearing is important to understand. Replying is not important, but hearing is important. So I think podcast is something that I'm looking forward to, and of course, expanding my services throughout the country, throughout like internationally as well, to support as many people as I can, and especially in India to bring more awareness and reduce the stigma still that is attached to certain concerns and certain issues that they can open up, they
Yeah.
can talk about it.
Yeah, so that's a great place to start a conversation here is in and around the cultural stigma. So look, I was speaking to another therapist from Hong Kong, and she was just saying, like publicly, they don't even admit they have domestic violence in Hong Kong. They just don't talk about it that way. And I noticed that the statistics don't show that there is much in India, but I got Indian friends and I know that's not the case. So could we talk a little bit more about what is the cultural attachment here to is it shame? Is it blame? Is it a caste thing? Like why is it not talked about? Why is it not acknowledged? And what can we do to help move that?
Correct. So see, that's a great question, I would say, because it opens a lot of minds here. A lot of people can, interact in this forum because what happens is the first thing that comes to my mind is fear because people fear that they do not have enough support system. Because most of the times, the inner circle, your family, your relatives do not support you standing up for yourself. They do not, say I know people are growing, they are progressing, but if you see in rural areas, people are trying to adjust and compromise with domestic violence rather than speaking up because they feel this is the only thing or this is the only place where we can live. We cannot go back to our, parents. We do not earn because in rural places it's more the income situation also the finances. So there are a lot of reasons that come into play when it comes to reporting an issue. One could be fear, one could be finances, one could be their situation. Maybe their, parents do not approve of it, or the person has actually gone through a lot. So there can be n number of reasons. I cannot actually pinpoint that, okay, this can be one particular reason why people are not opening about it, but definitely, uh, right now, what I feel is there's still progress than earlier. People do not tolerate much right now. They do speak up, but there's a long way ahead.
So, like in Australia, we have lots of campaigns. We talk about it. It's on political agendas, and people. We even we have signs to let people know that there's a problem, so that you can help people. Yeah, and like we even have advertising campaigns on the back of toilet doors too, like in clubs and in nightclubs and whatnot. So, that's not the case there in India. Is that correct?
There are campaigns, there are other things also happening. It's about the person's individual choice. Like, say, for example, if the person is into that marriage willingly, if they chose their own partner, they feel that if I go back to my parents and tell them that, this is someone I selected and now I don't want to be with them, so it comes on them as well. It's kind of guilt that how can I go and tell my parents or my family because this is the person whom I select, whom I chose to be with. Maybe my parents were not agreeing, maybe they were not ready for it. And let's not, take a different example as well. But maybe, if it is not even the situation where they selected the partner, even if the parents selected the partner, there's a lot of other pressure, societal pressure, as well as a feeling that, it's just happened once, we can let it go. Maybe we'll see if it happens in the future. And then you keep on suppressing that. Whether it's a male or a female, you keep on suppressing that and you feel that it's just the life that I have been dealing with and I can move on with it. Maybe then when you have kids, you think about the kids more. That where will the kids go? If we get separated or if the parents get separated, what effect or impact would it have on the kids? So maybe thinking about the kids also, people do not speak up or move out of marriages like that. So there
Mm.
can be plenty of reasons.
Yeah. So if someone is listening to this podcast and they've got concerns that, maybe it's not 100% okay, aside from the journaling and obviously what you've said about having that awareness and then acknowledging it, aside from the journaling, what are things that people can do themselves if they are not in a position to come and see a therapist?
Start believing in yourselves. Start telling yourselves that, you can stand by yourself. You are enough. You do not need anybody's support. If you don't stand up for yourself, nobody will. Because honestly, the person or people in your support system will only stand up when you raise a voice, when you raise your opinion, when you have a voice of your own. So, firstly, have a voice of your own, stand up for your needs or your rights, and then you will find a lot of people by your side. We are here to help you out, definitely.
I hear you. So when you're working with a client, do you work just, once off with them, or do you work with them in a series? Like, do they book you for several times, or is it just a once off thing and that's enough for them to move forward?
No, it's never a one thing because therapy takes a lot of time and it's a two-way street, of course, and it's a slow process. So it's a series of sessions, 8, 10, 12, depending upon the intensity of their concern and the progress rate. So it's never just one session.
How's someone going to know if the problem that they're experiencing is physical or whether or not it's psychological?
Great question again. Physical changes or physical issues always have an evidence. So if you have a stomach ache or if you have something that's happening physically, you go and get your tests done, blood tests or other tests done. And if there's no physical evidence of your pain, say for example, leg pain or pain in the chest, if there is no heart condition, then the pain in the chest or heaviness in the chest might be due to anxiety, might be due to stress. So if there's no medical record or medical evidence of your symptoms, then possibly it's a mental health concern.
So we're saying that mental health concerns can manifest themselves as physical concerns. So if you've got physical concerns and there isn't any tests that show that you've got a reason for this, then perhaps maybe it's time to have the level of awareness and make some acknowledgements so that you can make a plan and do some preparation and see a therapist. Yes?
100%.
Yes, I love it. Okay. So, all right. So out of all of the patients that you see, would you say that there's more people that have got challenges with depression or anxiety? Are these the things that are the main concerns for people, or are we talking about like the bigger end of town where we're talking about psychoses and those sorts of things?
See, in India, I would say psychosis is there. There are concerns related to that, but on a lower level. Right now, what I deal with when I deal with clients, it's mostly stress, anxiety, depression, relationship issues, self-esteem issues, body image issues. So these are concerns which have been growing through a long period of time because of their childhood, the environment they grew up in. So it's something of a pattern that they've been following, the self-esteem issue or the body image issue. So it's mainly related to that. There are personality issues as well that people come in with. So yeah, psychosis is a little still at a lower end because people are again not aware of what psychosis is or how severe it could get. Mainly right now, the terms very casually people use are I am anxious, I am stressed, I am depressed.
Yes, so we're very happy to say all of those things, aren't we? And I think it's because they become general language, so we can talk about that. And obviously, seeing a therapist is going to help you with that step-by-step process to get from where you are to where you need to be. I love that. Now, when people want to work with you, and you say that you work in person and you also work online, you work locally in India and also globally, the best place to reach out to you is on your Linktree. Is that right?
Yes, that's completely right. If you can't reach out there, there's the LinkedIn as well.
Excellent. So we're going to be popping her link tree here in the show notes and also in the description so that you can reach out and have a beautiful conversation with her. And I just we've been talking for a while now, and I just would love to for what words of wisdom do you have for our audience here today to help enrich their lives?
First and foremost, be kind to yourself, believe in yourself. I think this is, I can't, think of anything else beyond this because that's what will help you further. Nobody's going to come and help you. If you are kind to yourself, you will love yourself. Believe in yourself, be happy with yourself first.
I love that. Now, if I'm going to be kind to myself, what am I going to be doing if I'm going to be kind to myself?
Gratitude every day. I look pretty today. I achieved this today. Appreciating yourself is, a major part where you can boost your self confidence. Tell yourself what you've achieved today, what you've done today. It could be as simple as you wanted to reach out and have food that you were craving for a week. It doesn't have to be major achievements. It could be as simple as shopping something from your own salary.
I love it. I'm going to be grateful today if I can get my suitcase packed before I have to get to the airport. So I will be grateful about that. I love it. And I'm grateful for even just my cup of tea. So I love to start and end the day with gratitude and then, fill my day with gratitude because it's such a high frequency, 540 hertz, right up there next to joy and love. So if you want to shift from where you are at the low frequencies of blame, shame, and guilt, then, shifting to that high frequency gratitude will make all of the difference. And you can just, you can journal on it, you can write about it, you can think about it. It's something that everyone can do and it's free. It's free gratitude. I love it. In gratitude to you, thank you, Simran, for helping us understand how this works and how we can move forward and make a difference. And it's just been a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much from the other side of the world for connecting with us today at Healing Through Love. And if you're listening today and you're feeling like-minded and you want to make a difference for people who are survivors of family and domestic violence, we'd love to hear from you. We have local Pamper Days all around the world. And you can either contribute as a sponsor or you can be a practitioner like yourself. You can be a practitioner, or if you've got someone in your proximity that needs that love, please send them along because all of our Pamper Days are free to participate in. It's been a privilege and a pleasure to have this conversation and hold this space with you today. That's a goodbye from me and a goodbye from Simran.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Healing Through Love. You can get further resources, see the show notes, or simply reach out to us via our website at htlaustralia.org. Thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to your company next time on the Healing Through Love podcast.